Hello, mindful friends. Today we're going to be talking about my new book, Disentangled, Mindfully Freeing Ourselves from Emotional Abuse. And this is a topic near and dear to my heart, as they all are. And yet this one is a little bit more vulnerable than the others. It was a little more difficult for me to write about and then to share with the world. And I think that's because it comes from a vulnerable place in me, from my own experiences. And also it's kind of a taboo topic to talk about. Many of us, I would say most of us, have seen, experienced, or even participated in emotional abuse. And yet oftentimes we don't look it directly in the eye. We don't name it for what it really is. We don't talk about it, we don't share it. And this is damaging to ourselves. It's damaging to everybody because it develops a lack of understanding of emotional abuse and its effects. And it perpetuates the cycle. It kind of encourages it by saying, well, if no one's going to call it out, if no one's going to talk about it, if no one's going to say that it's happening here or existing, then it never gets addressed, it never gets understood, and it never gets healed. So this is my little way, my little contribution to inviting us to start looking at the hard things, start naming them as they are. Big or small, emotional abuse happens. And most of us have experienced it in our lives. I see it in families very often. In families, I see it in friendships, I see it in peer groups. It certainly happens, on social media. It happens in politics all the time, pretty much built into politics. It happens in work environments and school environments. So if you're saying to yourself, well, this does not affect me, think again and look around and recognize that it is happening. Maybe if not directly to you, then to somebody that you know or love, or to someone of influence and importance in your community. So this book is designed to help us understand what it is, how it shows up, and its effects on us in our emotional world, our physical world, our mental world, how we show up in the world and relate to the world. And so emotional abuse, is any time that our emotions are used in order to manipulate us, control us, dominate us, make us see ourselves in certain ways. It gives the power to the person who is trying to use our emotions in this way. Oftentimes, it goes both directions in not identifying it. Sometimes the perpetuator, so the abuser, doesn't even know that they're doing it. Might come from a place of fear within them, a place most likely that makes them feel like they need to be in control or have the upper hand. It might come from a place of vulnerability within them. But that within them turns into this need to get the upper hand, to somehow make the other person feel less than. It destabilizes them so that they're less in control of themselves and their own reactions and how they're being, which gives the abuser the upper hand, gives them more control. And this is such a powerful tool, right? It is used on us all the time. in our emotions are played upon all the time is what I mean by that. And maybe not to the level of abuse, but our emotions determine much of what we do in life. They kind of direct us in life. And we like to kind of say, and some of us believe, that there are places where emotions don't play. Oftentimes in workplaces or in financial decisions or things like that, we say, don't make a decision based on your emotion. I'd like to say emotions are there too. That emotions play a role in absolutely every decision that we make. They play a role in how we see ourselves and the world and how we interact with it. And this is because, our emotions are always at play. And there are a kind of internal wisdom or compass, if you will. They're there to kind of tell us what we need, what's missing. The more, what I would say, kind of pleasant emotions are trying to tell us what to move towards. The more less pleasant emotions, more difficult emotions are trying to tell us what to move away from or what to change or fix. And so even if we're making a decision that we say, don't let emotion in here or control this decision, it absolutely is. Because when you get that little sensation within you, even of peace, of calm, or feeling like you're not in a reactionary mood, there's still emotion there. And there's probably a positive one, giving you this sense of I'm in control, I'm making a good choice, I'm using my logic. There's an emotion in that experience that says we're calm here, at peace, we're stabilized. So emotion is in every single experience. It's a very, very important part of our life experience. And so that's why emotional abuse is so detrimental, because these abusers come in and they play on our emotions. They weasel their way in there. They know our triggers. They understand our emotional responses, and they try to use words, actions to alter our emotional state. And the more that they do that, the more confusing it becomes for the recipient of abuse. That they start doubting themselves, they stop knowing how to listen and trust their emotions. Their emotions start to become kind of a danger to them because they direct them to do things that maybe aren't aligned with their true self. And when their emotions are affected, they start seeing themselves very differently, and they lose their sense of self and definitely their self-worth and their value and who they are and their direction. Because emotion, like I explained before, when aligned, when working correctly, is a huge guide in our lives. So when we lose that guide, we lose that compass, it affects every area of our life. And of course, when this abuser is playing with our emotions, they are most likely generating difficult emotions within us. They are generating doubt. They are generating fear. They are generating self-hatred. And so the more that these emotions are being generated within us, the more time we are spending in this kind of worried, worked up, negative state, which of course then affects the body. It creates illness, creates injury, creates fatigue, brain fog, affects in that way the mind. The thoughts we're having, it confuses us. It confuses everything, because we have this one experience of the world and our state and how we see things, how we experience them. And the abuser will come in and try to manipulate that and say how you're seeing things, how you're feeling them, how you're experiencing them is incorrect. Here's how it really is, and and they normally turn you in to the bad person in it, the wrongdoer, the one who shouldn't have a voice or a say. And so now they've created this whole deception or non-truth within you that confuses your view of things. This is what they're telling me is the reality of who I am and my experience, but this is how I experience things. And typically their view in abuse, because they push it so hard, kind of usurps your own, overtakes it. And so now you've lost your ability to listen to self, to believe your own experience, and to be then guided by the insight and wisdom of your own inner voice, which is often, connected to how you're feeling things through your emotions. So this is a big deal, right? And the world has seen how effective it is, how powerful it is to control people in this way. Very, very effective, because emotions guide us through everything. So if they can get in and alter your emotions, control your emotions, literally they can control your whole experience of reality. So understanding this and finding ways to minimize or completely reverse the effects of it, its power over us, is so crucial. It's so important to get our own autonomy back, our own agency over our lives, to make sure we're able to experience life, interpret life, and engage with life in ways that are aligned with our heart, that are aligned with our truth and our experience, rather than being directed by these people manipulating and controlling our emotions. So these topics in this book, we might not call it by emotional abuse, but yet all of us have experiences with our emotions being played to encourage, motivate, or force us to do certain things. Whether it's happening in marketing, whether it's happening in news and media, whether it's happening in politics, or in our, interpersonal relationships, it happens. And so the best way to heal is to be as informed as you possibly can, and to understand how it shows up, how it's affecting you, and the ways to come back to yourself, your own truth, and to lessen, weaken, or totally undo the controls this emotional abuse has over you. And this is how we can stop that horrible cycle and not allow it to continue, which will offer so much healing to ourselves and the world. So I'm so excited to share this book with you. I'm doing a book launch and signing at Mauve, or Curiouser Books, downtown in Montrose, this Saturday 11 to 2. I hope you can stop by. And then definitely come April 23rd to the Montrose Library at 6:45. I'll be doing a reading from the book, kind of a talk about the book, and we'll do a meditation together on the topic. So I can't wait to share this with all of you. It is a very vulnerable experience for me, as I'm sure it makes us a little uncomfortable to talk about these hard things, but they're also so important to start talking about, so we can start healing. I hope to see you all very soon, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.